All right, well, let's look at some of these games. Okay, since we're in Colorado, we definitely have to go to the Bronco game. Even though not all of you are fans, which I think is criminal. All right, let's look at, so go to San Diego, Denver. It's the second one down here if you're using my spreadsheet. Can everybody see that? Do you want me to zoom in a little bit? Okay, I'll highlight it here on our page so you can see it. All right. So what do we predict the score was going to be? Well, let's see. So I guess if we were doing, remember we have this column. It's telling us how far away we were from our guess. San Diego, what did we predict? Let's just go with the predicted scores average. Based on this information, how much did we think San Diego was going to score?
20, 21.
About 20, 21, somewhere in there. And then we predicted Denver to score about 25, 26, right? What happened to both these scores?
The offense underperformed, and then the defense overperformed for Broncos.
Yeah, or we don't know yet, right? So here's the deal is the score was much less than we expected. Okay? So that either means that the team we're talking about, either their offense was horrible and underperformed, or the other opposing team's defense overperformed. Right? Did anybody watch the game?
I watched like 2 quarters of it.
What do you think happened?
In terms of what?
Yeah, why didn't the Broncos score as many points as they should have? What do you think? Was it that San Diego's defense was so great, or was it because our offense wasn't as good? What's that?
The offense wasn't bad.
Yeah, why do you think that? What variable? So now I'm telling you, let's think outside the lines here. Our offense didn't do as well as they have all season. Why is that, do you think? Yes! Right? Our star quarterback isn't in the game. We have a new quarterback that has to learn a new system. Brock Osweild, our future savior. God, everybody in the media is going crazy about him. I hope he works out. I really do. Okay, well, let's take a look at the game, and this is what happens. This is what we can do if we want to figure out what's going on in the game to get a closer look. Go to Yahoo Sports NFL. Google that. Okay. Once you're on this page, go to Scores and Schedule.
Isn't our offense statistically doing better with Brock Osweiler?
Well, according to that, no, they are not, right? Normally our offense scores about 25 points. We only scored 17. So he's doing something wrong compared to what we've done all season. And that's the thing is you hear that and you hear oh, hey, the Broncos won. Brock's the great quarterback. If you look at the score, no, he isn't. Why did we probably win that game? Defense, right? Look at San Diego's score. 3 points. Let's go down to it. So if you go down, here's San Diego. Find San Diego, Denver matchup. You'll notice on the side it'll have this final thing. Click on that. That'll give you kind of an overview of what's going on.
Always show the stats.
Sorry. Didn't want to show you a movie. By the way, look at this page. It's all ads, I swear. As I am checking out, as I'm mining their sports data, they are mining me and throwing ads in my face. So that's why I like what we're doing here. Yeah, you can mine me, but I'm going to mine you. How you like that? So you can hear this. You can see this game summary here, right? You see down here game story. You can click on that and it'll give you kind of an overview of what's going on with the game and you could figure out maybe what happened. But I really like this. Look over here to team stats.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right. So number one, if we look back at our score here, and I'm going to show you this, we picked this a much closer game, number one. Denver killed San Diego. We predicted there was only going to be 5 points difference about. Here, there's how many points? 14. That's 2 touchdowns. That's enormous, right? What happened? Here is where we find out what happened. So let's look at these stats. What's different between these two teams? And I love the way they put these because then you can kind of see it directly. Look at total yards. Is there much difference in total yards? No. Right? Keep going down. What's the one thing that really stands out about the difference between these two teams? What's the one number that's very different? Penalty yards? Oh, yeah, totally. Right?
Net yards passing. Oh, no, not passing. Net yards rushing.
Yeah, not too much. I mean, they're still similar. Look at net yards passing. Like, these things aren't that different. But here's the key. Look up here. What's the third thing down? Turnovers, right? How many Denver have? How many San Diego have? 3, right? That is exactly what happens. Like, so you could tell like their total yards are very similar, right? Why isn't the score more similar? Here's what happened if you watch the game like I did. San Diego would, they get into maybe scoring position and then they turn the ball over. There's a scoring opportunity that they no longer have that now Denver has. And unfortunately, we didn't have the offense to take advantage of that as many times as we should have. Like if we had Peyton Manning, this would have probably been a 30-point game, right? Yeah. Turnovers plays a huge role in what's going on. And JC, you were the one that said in the back, right? Penalties, right? A lot of difference in penalties. Broncos only got 3 penalties. San Diego got 8 for a total of 72 yards. That's 50 yards lost to the Patriots that the Broncos have. Does everybody see that? Yeah. I would bet maybe the San Diego, they underperformed. Their offense underperformed because of the penalty yards. That's number one. So it's not just our defense. That's an important point to make. Is that here is what we find out. Here's why we find out San Diego sucks. Number one, they get penalized a lot. Number two, they turn the ball over a lot. Right? They can no longer score. Their offense, if you actually look at Phillip Rivers, he's a decent quarterback. Right? It's just that you can't be a decent quarterback if the other team has the ball. Let's look at... let's see. Where's sacks? How many sacks? What's the difference here? Look at your own thing. How many sacks did Denver have? Was Brock sacked? One time. How many was Phillip Rivers? 4. Right? San Diego was supposed to score 20 points. They only scored 3. Why do you think their offense underperformed based on what we said? Give me the factors. What's one of them? Sacks, right? Turnovers. Penalties. You see how this is all working out? That even though we didn't predict the game exactly, now we kind of know why it didn't work. Here's what we could do is if we wanted to make our predictions a little more accurate, we could go in and look at how good these teams are at getting sacks, turnovers, and how many penalties do they get. Those are all probably going to play a role in how much that team scores.
Do you think the teams know that, like the coaches and stuff?
Here's what I'm going to tell you is that I think the teams, there's still kind of if you're like over 50, this statistics kind of stuff for most people who just kind of goes out the window. I think a lot of these coaches are still really old school. So I don't think they use it like they should. Did you guys hear about that coach? He coaches high school and he never kicks a punt. Did anybody hear about that?
There was a movie about statistics or something like
Yeah, we're gonna watch that on Wednesday. By the way, Moneyball.
that. Yeah.
Totally. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Guess what? You're seeing it again. You're like, hey, I love watching TV and.
I'd rather watch that school.
Yeah, I hear you. It's a good movie too. So again, it's you can take these factors, you can factor them in. I would say these coaches, like I was telling you about the coach that punts all the time, they actually do really well. What he did was he looked into the statistics and said, hey, if I go for it on fourth down all the time, if I look, does that team benefit most of the time or not benefit? What he found is when he looked, that teams that went for it on fourth down usually benefited in the end. So now he doesn't punt at all. Now there's other teams that are starting not to punt. Did anybody watch the Steelers last night? No?
Yeah, penalty for the decision.
By the way, he was like, I had a bunch of people on my fantasy team as the Steelers. Like, I raked in, man. It was awesome. Roethlisberger did really well. Antonio Brown, you guys know that the receiver for Pittsburgh? God, he's good. Yeah, he did really well. So I did good. That's probably why I'm in a good mood today. So what they did is now they moved the extra point back to like 30 yards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So now basically he decided he wasn't going to kick a field goal because he knew there was a good chance that he wasn't going to make it. He had a better chance it's more of an advantage to actually go for the 2-point conversion. So Pittsburgh last night went for their 2-point conversion without kicking the field goal. And they did it. They weren't behind or anything like that. They just did it because it just made statistic sense. And they got it. So there are people that pay attention to the statistics, but there are a lot of naysayers. And when you watch Moneyball, like the first part of the movie is everybody saying, you're crazy. You can't judge a person on numbers. And then, so we'll only probably have time to watch the first half on Wednesday. And then we'll watch the second half when we're done. By the way, I want to share some good news with you. So I have been in contact with the Rockies statistician, their data analysis person. I think of course it's a he, will come in and I think he either might do it from phone, but I think he might come in, but he's going to talk to us. How cool is that? Now you can ask him how much he makes, because I'm kind of curious too. So please ask him how much he makes. I might be looking for a new job. Yeah. All right. Take his knees out. I'll take his job. I'll hire all you people.